Call to order the City of Dunkirk Common Council meeting for February 5th, 2019 at 5:30 p.m. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams.
Here.
Councilmember Bamanto.
Here.
Councilmember Heenan. Here. Councilmember Civiletto.
Here.
Councilmember at-large Voisin.
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Certification of the prior meetings.
This is to certify that an official copy of the minutes of the Common Council meeting of Tuesday, January 15, 2019 was presented to the mayor on Thursday, January 24, 2019. Pursuant to Section 3.03 of the Dunkirk City Charter, all items presented to the mayor are now in full force and effect. In witness whereof I have hereto set my hand and the seal of the City of Dunkirk, New York, this 5th day of February 2019.
Need a motion dispensing with the reading of the minutes? So moved. Councilman Williams with the motion, and need a second? Second. Second by Councilman Bamanto. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto.
Aye.
Councilmember Heenan.
Aye.
Councilmember Civiletto.
Aye.
Councilmember at-large Voisin.
Aye. Reading of the privilege of the floor regulations.
The privilege of the floor shall be extended to any person appearing for themselves, in which case the individual shall be limited to 3 minutes, and to any person representing a group who shall be limited to 5 minutes. When recognized, please stand and state your name and address. The city clerk shall have the duty of maintaining such time limits, and the councilman at large may determine in his discretion whether individuals are speaking for themselves or representing groups. Councilman at large Voisin shall maintain good order and may require any speaker to cease speaking if remarks are made in bad taste or are slanderous or non-germane to any action taken or contemplated by council. The time limit specified above shall be strictly adhered to, except that a speaker may be allowed to complete a statement or thought started before such time has expired.
With that said, privilege of the floor is now open. If anybody wishes to speak, please step forward to the podium and state your name and address. Privilege of the floor is now open. If anybody wishes to speak, please step forward to the podium and state your name and address.
Nick, thank you, 745 Grant Avenue. I'd like to talk about plastic. The city and the nation as a whole and the world, we have a serious problem with plastic. It's very toxic, and we just treat it like it's going to go away. It doesn't go away. As far as the city as a whole, I think we're not doing a very good job as far as litter and debris. And I think part of the problem is because we don't have the trash receptacle rule that we have in the charter. Most of the people throw their garbage out in plastic bags. The animals get into plastic bags, and it gets scattered all over the city. So I think what we should do is enforce that a little better. And in relation to our lakefront, once the plastic gets into the water, it breaks down, causes chemicals, and it basically becomes unfit for drinking, and it's quite a serious problem, and I think we should think about it a little better. And by thinking about it a little better, I think our school children should be taught that it's a problem to throw garbage on the street. And I know the parenting problem we have. So I just wanted to give everybody a heads up and see if we can do better. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Anybody else wishing to take advantage or privilege of the floor, please step forward to the podium and state your name and address. Last opportunity. Anybody wishing to take advantage or privilege of the floor, please step forward to the podium and state your name and address. Seeing none, privilege of the floor is now closed. Communications from the mayor, including disapproval messages. Mayor?
Mr. Chairman, I just have some announcements to make here. First, I'd like to introduce to council and the public officially here Mr. Glenn Christner, who is our new code enforcement officer here in the city. I'd also like to publicly thank and acknowledge the professional job that was done during the storm here last week by all of our city departments. As the Chief Executive Officer, I couldn't commend them enough. All of our departments, our Dunkirk Police Department, our Fire Department, our DPW, everyone did a wonderful job. They're very professional. My concern was that to make sure that our guys were safe out there, and they did an excellent job. So I just wanted to make sure that we publicly thank them. Also, I just wanted to let council members know that today the DPW director and I were taking a ride around town, making sure that we didn't have any flooding issues, and as of yet, we do not have any. And tonight we have two resolutions accepting some funding from the state. I wanted to again publicly thank our governor and our officials at the state level for all the assistance that they provide to the city of Dunkirk. But I also want to commend our Director of Planning and Development and her team for, again, being successful in addressing the needs. You know, I ask our department to see what we can do to locate funding, and she finds it, and we go after it, and we were successful. So I just wanted to, again, compliment her on a very nice job. Also want to invite the public to our Winterfest. This is the first Winterfest that we're having here in the city of Dunkirk. It'll be this Saturday, the 9th. We have plenty of activities going on, which I will allow for our Director of Planning and Development to give you a few more details on that. But I'd also like to invite the community and our council members to our Comprehensive Plan Community Workshop. This will be on February 25th and the 27th. It'll be from 4:30 to 8 p.m. And our consultants, as well as our team, will be there to answer questions, and we're hoping to get more input from the public. So everyone is invited to attend. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to our Director of Planning and Development, Rebecca Yanis, to give us more details on our Winterfest.
Thank you, Mayor. As the Mayor said, our first annual City of Dunkirk Winterfest will be held this Saturday, February 9th. The event will take place from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Clarion Pavilion, City Lakefront Lots, and Harborfront, and it will host a day full of activities. Some of these activities include a cold water fishing tournament with 2 fishing categories and cash prizes, an adult snow volleyball co-ed tournament, 3-on-3 youth street hockey tournament for ages 8 through 17, a co-ed winter wiffle ball tournament for ages 14 and up, along with some various winter-themed activities and a cornhole tournament. There'll be coffee and hot chocolate and light refreshments provided. There's also going to be a post-Winterfest gathering at the Fillmore from 4 to 7 with live music by The Rising. And if anyone else has any questions, please visit the City of Dunkirk's website or call our Youth and Recreation Department for any additional information. As the Mayor also said, we have 2 workshops coming up for our city's comprehensive plan, and these 2 workshops will be held on February 25th and 27th. Please join us for the Issues and Identification and Design workshops, which will be held from 4:30 to 8 o'clock on Monday, February 25th and Wednesday, February 27th at Dunkirk's High School cafeteria. You're invited to drop in at any time. It's a open house kind of style. So from 4:30 to 8, our department as well as our consultants will be there with a lot of interactive boards to gain input from the community on many different projects and key issues that are happening in the city. We want your input on these key issues. So it's really important that the public comes out to support the comprehensive plan and to give their input, because this is the perfect setting and perfect time to do it. And we hope that people come out with our planners and designers to lay the groundwork for continuous positive change in the city of Dunkirk. Thank you.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Communications from the public and petitions.
Number 1, request from the Lakeshore Street Rod Association to use the Cook's large and lower pavilions, use of the Point Gratiot main parking lot, permission for vendors, extra trash barrels, and trash pickup on Sunday, July 7, 2019, for their annual harbor cruise.
Any discussion? I need a motion to refer to the appropriate departments as well as approve, subject to appropriate insurances and usual conditions.
So moved.
Councilman Williams with the first, Councilman Bamanto with the second. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto?
Aye.
Councilmember Heenan?
Aye.
Councilmember Civiletto?
Aye.
Councilmember at-large Washington.
Aye.
Number 2, request from SUNY Fredonia for permission to hold a beach cleanup at Point Gratiot Beach on Saturday, April 27, 2019, from 12 p.m. until 2 p.m.
Any discussion? Seeing none, I need a motion to refer to the appropriate departments as well as approve, subject to appropriate insurances and usual conditions.
So moved.
Councilman Williams with the first, Councilman Civiletto with the second. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto?
Aye.
Councilmember Heenan?
Aye.
Councilmember Civiletto?
Aye.
Councilmember at-large Washington.
Aye.
Number 3, request from Lauren Kalinowski on behalf of Western New York chapter of the Alzheimer's Association to amend the date they originally requested for their annual Walk to End Alzheimer's fundraising event. Due to unforeseen circumstances, they would like to change the date to Saturday, September 21st, 2019, from approximately 7 a.m. until 12 p.m., as well as gain permission to begin setting up the site as early as Wednesday, September 18, 2019, depending on the vendor's schedule.
Just a small note to add to this. When they talk about the pavilion and the site within this request, they are speaking about Point Gratiot Pavilions and Point Gratiot site. Any discussion, council? Councilman Williams?
Just at the workshop, we were talking about the availability of being able to set up on that Wednesday. If we could just clarify that, that would be at their own liability, that the city wouldn't be liable for anything that they're keeping there.
Very good point.
And
Councilman
a short
Heenan?
tail on Mr. Williams. I did notice here that they wanted to put the chairs in there Friday evening through Saturday morning. I'm guessing that's not going to interfere if anybody's using that kitchen area. Previous to that, would that be?
Randy, you said you'll make amends
Yes, we can work
and
this
work with
out.
them to make sure everything goes smoothly, correct?
I'm going to contact these people, we'll work out, it looks like a good event,
Okay.
and we'll make everything happen
Absolutely.
correctly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any further discussion? And to address Councilman Williams' request, I need a motion to refer to the appropriate departments as well as approve, subject to appropriate insurances and usual conditions. Councilman Bamanto with the first, Councilman Civiletto with the second. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto?
Aye.
Councilmember Heenan?
Aye.
Councilmember Civiletto?
Aye.
Councilmember at-large Washington.
Aye.
Number 4, request from the Chautauqua County Historical Society to use the large pavilion on Wednesday, August 21st, 2019, from 5 p.m. till 9 p.m. for a free program focusing on the 158th anniversary of the establishment of the Brooks Locomotive Works in the city of Dunkirk, and an invitation to city officials and the public to this free event.
And again, just another footnote for this one as well. In their description, when they speak of the large pavilion, they are speaking about the large pavilion at Point Gratiot. Any discussion, council? Seeing none, I need a motion to refer to the appropriate departments as well as approve, subject to appropriate insurances and usual conditions.
So moved.
Councilman Williams with the first, Councilman Civiletto with the second. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto?
Aye.
Councilmember Heenan?
Aye.
Councilmember Civiletto?
Aye.
Councilmember at-large Washington.
Aye.
Number 5, request from Pete Kalfas to access 3 local softball fields and for field preparation on Saturday, June 1st, 2019, from 9 a.m. till 10 p.m. to host the first annual Joseph Gardner Co-ed softball tournament.
As a footnote to this one, if they are planning on using School 7 softball field, they have to contact the school district, as the city of Dunkirk does not own that particular field. Any further discussion? I need a motion to refer to the appropriate departments as well as approve, subject to appropriate insurances and usual conditions. Councilman Bamanto with the first.
Second.
Councilman Williams with the second. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto.
Aye.
Councilmember Heenan.
Aye.
Councilmember Civiletto.
Aye.
Councilmember at-large Wilwashen.
Aye.
Number 6, notice of claim from Kenneth Clement of 4566 Westlake Road for blown front right tire allegedly damaged by hitting potholes on 6th Street between McKinley Avenue and Brigham Road on January 3rd, 2019.
Motion to refer this to the law department.
So move.
Councilman Williams with the first. Councilman Civiletto with the second. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto.
Aye.
Councilmember Heenan.
Aye.
Councilmember Civiletto.
Aye.
Councilmember at-large Wilwashen.
Aye.
Number 7, prior written notice from Casey Weaver on a storm drain that gets plugged on the corner of 7th Street and Deer Street by her home and allegedly causes sewer/rainwater to go into her basement since the July 2018 storm.
This prior notice will be received and filed. For loudspeaker applications, we have 2 loudspeaker applications before us this evening. We went over both of them on an individual basis during the workshop sessions. There were no questions or concerns about either of the 2 loudspeaker applications. Therefore, for the purpose of this meeting, they will be grouped together as one motion and one vote, but they will be read individually. Clerk?
Rookies on the Lake to use band equipment and speakers for outside bands from February 9th, 2019 through October 31st, 2019. And B, the Juneteenth Celebration Committee to use loudspeakers, microphones, bands, and instruments during the annual Juneteenth celebration at Memorial Park on Saturday and Sunday, June 15th and 16th, 2019.
Any discussion? I need a motion to refer to the appropriate departments as well as approve, subject to appropriate insurances and usual conditions.
So move.
Councilman Williams with the first. Councilman Bamanto with the second. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto.
Aye.
Councilmember Heenan.
Aye.
Councilmember Civiletto.
Aye.
Councilmember at-large Wilwashen.
Aye. Reports of standing committees, boards, and commissions. Councilman Williams?
Randy, I'm hoping we can get a report from the solar and wind study for the next DPW committee meeting on the 27th of this month.
Sure, good idea.
And secondly, still on that light at 2nd and Roberts, I do believe how it's supposed to go is the Roberts Road side of it's supposed to be green most of the time, and there's supposed to be a sensor on 2nd that trips it to change it if something comes up there. This has been going on since June 20th. I first brought it up at a council meeting, and I was wondering if you could put that on a priority list to get programs so that it's done the right way.
Absolutely.
Thank you. That's all I have.
June 20th of what year?
June 20th of 2018.
That's it, Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Councilman Bamanto?
Randy, I see we have another water issue on the 400 block of Woods Road. Is that separate from the first one, or?
It is, Councilman. Rob Curry, the supervisor for water maintenance, is on that. He's working with Mike Papilia with streets. They want to track it down. It's been hard to pinpoint exactly where it is, so we may get an electronic leak detection company to come in so we dig the hole exactly in the right spot right from the beginning. That's a kind of a tricky area to find it.
Is there an update on the first issue, which I know was a residential issue?
Yes, and they may be linked, so we hope to be able to solve both those problems at the same time.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'd like to thank the mayor, Rebecca, for the grants that we're going to be voting on here. Job well done. Thanks for your due diligence. And also, thanks for having the first annual Winterfest this weekend. I hope to see everybody there. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman Bamanto. Councilman Heenan?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Rebecca very much for your hard work, and that was a pretty quick turnaround on that too, so thank you very much. I just have a few questions about it. are we participating, or are there any other participating municipalities with us?
You know what, I'd have to look at the list. I apologize, I don't know off the top.
No, and that's fine, and I only knew that, I didn't know how it was written, because I know that sometimes the money was easier to obtain if you had other municipalities involved in the grant.
Oh, it's just the city of Dunkirk.
Just the city, okay,
Yes.
now that alleviates a lot of the other questions I was gonna have to what their participation would be with that. And when would we be working on it, I don't know if you'd be working with Mr. Woodbury or not, to the work that we have to do inside it to bring it up to the specs for the agriculture markets, New York State, and also if there's a cost or if we have to what it might be.
Yep, so, and I apologize, we've got the two grants. So the tree inventory is just the city of Dunkirk. The animal shelter acquisition grant is for the city of Dunkirk, but we put in the possibility of partnering with local municipalities if they would like to jump on board to also utilize the shelter. Right now, we work with the town of Pomfret and the town of Dunkirk, and we want to continue that working relationship. But with the new location, there might be the possibility of bringing on additional local municipalities, which could benefit those municipalities. As far as costs for the shelter, we're going to be negotiating the price of that for purchasing that as a part of the grant. The grant also includes upgrades such as installation and all those pieces as well. So actually, we just did a walkthrough this past Friday in the building. Glenn was there, Randy, we had the whole team there kind of putting on our thinking hats and starting to prioritize costs on what that would include. So there's definitely going to be some work. It needs some TLC, but I think that it'll be a great improvement to what we have now, and some additional extra space for storage for other departments too. So I think it'll be a great benefit.
I got to hand it to you. You always do your due diligence and you follow through with it. And thank you very much. I knew you'd have an answer for me. And would you say that in the future, trying to look at other municipalities to have a financial participation in it too, maybe down the road? But in other words, we didn't need them to get this grant. We did this as the city alone. But in the future, working with other municipalities, there might be a way to get some revenue to help us out with it. Of course, it's not going to change our budget by much, but it's always it's nice to have other partners with us too.
Exactly. Yep, that's the whole point. Yeah.
Again, thank you very much, Rebecca. I appreciate it.
All set. Thank you, Councilman Heenan. Councilman Civiletto?
Yeah, going on what Councilman Heenan talked about, the dog park and the building that's next to it. I went to the Lakeshore Humane Society. They had an event this weekend, and they were very interested in helping us in any way they can as far as advice goes. You know, they built their own building from scratch, so they have a lot of advice that we could probably benefit from. So if you need, we already have we have the president on our subcommittee for the dog park. So he said, give him a call anytime, and everyone be willing to come and help out with some suggestions on how maybe the best way that should look for you. Okay? Because I figure you've never put together one of those before. Neither has Randy or anybody else. Speaking to the gentleman from Grand Avenue about trash receptacles, Rebecca, we've talked about getting some different trash receptacles, especially along lakefront. And is there any? Are there any future plans, maybe for park grants, to get more trash receptacles or trash receptacles throughout the city in highly pedestrian traveled places?
Yeah, we recently, well, for the pier project, that is definitely going to have the trash receptacles that have both the recyclable and regular trash, the two different separate areas. And then we recently had a meeting with Chautauqua County Soil and Water, and that was an issue that came up, and they have some funding available for kind of reducing trash coming into the lake, some kind of options and barriers that could help with that process, and they have some funding for some additional trash receptacles. So we're definitely going to work with them to see if we can get more and improved ones in the city.
Okay. And following with that, Randy, I did drive around the city today, And, when we have a big thaw like this, of course, all the trash that's been buried by snow gets revealed, basically. And I know that when all of that water is going into the storm drain, that carries a lot of the different plastic and those type of debris, cups and styrofoam and everything else into the storm drains, which does it go directly into the lake, or does it go through a process that it gets filtered? How does that work? Because I don't know. How does that work?
It's about 50/50. The city does have some ancient combined storm drains that go to the wastewater plant. It's not really all that good because then it overloads the wastewater plant. So we've separated those, and we do have to have a cleaner community relative to plastic. Some of the international cutting-edge research on plastics has been done at SUNY Fredonia. So we know that. We're in communication with those. One of the resolutions you just passed was Dr. Jarvis at the English department having a cleanup of plastics, and they will actually sort that debris and figure out what the genesis of it, where it came from, and because the problem is the source. We have to eliminate the source. And Governor Cuomo, in his State of the State address, indicated that he wants to address the plastic problem in New York. So we're definitely on board with that. On the other half of the system, it does go directly to the lake. In addition to what Rebecca said, the Lake Erie Management Commission has a grant to help us label those receivers that go directly to the lake. They want to use the city of Dunkirk as a pilot project to label those and say, don't put things anywhere near these drains that go directly to the lake. Not just plastics, but we don't want people dumping their motor oil or things like that into those drains. So there is a proactive approach with the governor, with the mayor, with Rebecca, with all of the council, with the citizens. We're all on board with that. It's one step at a time, we'll get there. We inherited this problem. People thought, 50 years ago, plastic was a solution to everything. Now we find out maybe it's the problem for everything. So we have a different shift in how we're looking at that. So I thank you for your comments, and I think as we work together, we can certainly improve that situation.
And another suggestion, did we get street cleaners out in the last couple days after all of this has gone on? Because it looks like there's a lot of trash along curbs.
Yeah, the mayor and I drove around the city today. We saw the vacuum truck out. We had our crews were out there vacuuming.
I saw it on Lakeshore Drive.
Yep, exactly. So that's if we can get the trash in the right location. If we can reduce the amount of trash, that's even better. So yes, they have been out, and I'd like to thank the city crews, Mike Propelia and the rest of the crews for taking advantage of this break in the weather to get out there and clean it
We
up.
have a vacuum truck and a street cleaner, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Because we'd like to see them both out. I did see the vacuum cleaner out. That was great. I do want to, you probably saw this morning, there's a sinkhole on Grant and 9th.
Right.
That was taken care of by the Streets Department this morning. Just kind of wanted to warn everyone to be careful of that. It's actually on Grant Street on the even side. So there's pylons out and there's a board over the top of it, but just be careful when you're going up Grant. And did want to thank Rebecca and her team for all of the grants that we've been getting, and also the just let everyone know in the public, the comprehensive plan is very, very, very important. If you could come and help us with that, the 25th and the 27th. Comprehensive plan, nothing gets done in a city without a comprehensive plan. And when I first came back here in 2012, we didn't have one, and I believe that's why we lost a lot of development, because developers are afraid to go into cities without a comprehensive plan. So please show up and help us out. We are going to have a Public Safety Committee meeting on February 13th at 4 o'clock in the Mayor's Conference Room. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Civiletto. The couple things I wanted to mention were already brought up by other council people, so I don't have anything further. Number 8, unfinished business. There is none. Number 9, pre-filed resolutions.
Number 10, resolution authorizing budget line modifications for fiscal year 2019.
Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto.
Aye.
Councilmember Heenan.
Aye.
Councilmember Civiletto.
Aye.
Councilmember at large Voloshin.
Aye.
Number 11, resolution accepting $49,500 grant from New York State Department of Environmental Conservation.
Any discussion, council? Clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto.
Aye.
Councilmember Heenan.
Aye.
Councilmember Civiletto.
Aye.
Councilmember at-large Bawasha.
Aye.
Number 12, resolution accepting a $100,000 grant from New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets.
Any discussion? Clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto.
Aye.
Councilmember Heenan.
Aye.
Councilmember Civiletto.
Aye.
Councilmember at-large Bawasha.
Aye. Any new business walking in before us today? Seeing none, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Councilman Williams with the first,
Second.
Councilman Civiletto with the second. Clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto.
Aye.
Councilmember Heenan.
Aye.
Councilmember Civiletto.
Aye.
Councilmember at-large Bawasha.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.
You didn't,